my God. But then we find here that Judah hears that Tamar is pregnant. She's a prostitute. So he wants to have her burned. Burn her up, kill her. She ain't no good. She's worthless. She disgustes me. Isn't that how the church talk? When they find a young girl that got pregnant and she's tainted, she done been raped, they don't want to go to her to help her. They want to sit and talk and run off with the mouth instead of getting on bended knees and praying and offering help and saying, it's okay, don't worry. The Lord will make a way somehow. You still somebody in the eyesight of God. You're still loved. You're still a daughter of Zion, no matter what. But no, they got to criticize and they got to put them out the church and they got to make mockery of their lives. Yes. But that's a bad thing to do. That's a real bad thing to do. Because when you do that, God takes what? Little and make it much. Now here we have Tamar, who says, okay, I'm going to send you your signet ring back, and I want to send you your staff back. So let's see how fast you're going to burn me now. So when he finds out that this is Tamar with his signet ring and his staff, he wants to fetch her, bring her on in. Just bring her on in. And he brings her into his home to have sex with her no more. But he declares that she is righteous. Tamar later gives birth to Perez and Zerah, being the lineage.
Come on, right now.
Are you ready for this?
All right now.
Being the lineage of David. Now, how in the world can a messed up woman like that do an awesome thing like this? Give birth to something that was so powerful. It was her appointed time. Her appointed time, and after all her ashes. Can you see all of her ashes? Can you see the ashes? The rape, the prostitution. Can you see it? And then here God with his good self give her the beauty. What was the beauty? The two sons, the lineage of David. Y'all, I hope and pray that I haven't lost y'all. We gonna take flight, but I got to give it to you like God said give it to you. Now, my Lord, we have a widow. We have a widow who obtained a child for herself, an heir for her dead husband's inheritance, a virtuous woman who risked everything, life and reputation, to get what was rightfully hers. God used this woman to bring his promise to continue the Jewish peoples through many generations, through all odds. That was too much for some to understand, for some to even fathom that God can take a virgin that has never been with anybody but loved him dearly, go through all of this, and he still bless her. Is it all right if I call on Naomi? Y'all know Naomi. See, these are women that had nothing but ashes. But in the end, God gives them their beauty. Naomi, we find, was in her darkest hour. A famine in her land, and she felt like there was just no hope. Though she felt abandoned, he had in no way forsaken her. In all her darkness, God had left Naomi with a sun ray of hope. Naomi's life is rather symbolic because, like the crops in Bethlehem in Judah, Naomi had to watch as those around her that she loved and cherished began to wither away and die. Taken to a strange land called Moab in search of a better life, it was there she experienced the first loss, her husband, Amalek. Naomi is now a widow, miles away from home, and the only family that she has is her 2 sons to raise, as Mahlon and Chilion. After her sons became men and took wives from among the pagans of Moab, Oprah and Ruth. Even though Naomi's story only begins in Ruth 1, first chapter, the first verse, by Ruth, the first chapter, the 5th verse, neither one of her sons could even bless her with a grandchild to carry on the family lineage because both sons have died. Here Naomi is out in the middle of nowhere in a land full of pagans and idol worshippers. And now every family member of family is dead and gone. Naomi feeling like everything has crumbled around her. Her grief was so heavy that she saw no way for help, not even restoration. Yes. And now she blames God. The Lord himself has raised his fist against me. Regardless of how Naomi felt, God had not utterly abandoned her. In Ruth, he had left her hope. Though God's plan to restore Naomi was in motion, she couldn't see it all. But all she could see was her pain. Even though sometimes God has a plan for every last one of us, what we see is just the natural. We can't see what's in the spiritual because we now have spiritual blinders on. The enemy has talked to us and tainted us so much that we cannot even see that the blessing of the Lord is upon our lives, that the hand of the Lord is still with us. Yes. But all we can see is despair. And now, like Naomi, she returns home only to say, don't call me Naomi, because Naomi means pleasant. Call me Mara, because it's bitter. I'm bitter. Has anybody ever been in here been bitter? Because of some situations that you've been through. But you won't be honest with yourself. You just say, well, everything's fine. I'm okay. But you're lying to yourself. And God can't bless when you lie to yourself. Be honest with yourself and be honest with God, and God can move. Here we have Naomi, where she felt that it was over. But little did she know, the beginning of her hope was revealed in Ruth and completed by a man named Boaz. Boaz was related to Naomi's husband. Under Jewish laws, he was one of the 2 men who had the right to marry Ruth. In modern day society, we find it can be hard for us to understand why this is significant to Naomi. Why should she care if her daughter-in-law remarried? But under Jewish law, if Boaz married her son's widow, it would restore the name of the dead to its inheritance. That the name of the dead may not be cut off from among the brethren and from the gate of his birthplace. Whatever child born to Ruth and Boaz would be considered Naomi's grandchild and restore her family lineage. And there was indeed a child born. And the child's name was Obed. Now here we have Obed, the grandchild of Naomi. You ready for this? The grandfather of King David. The ancestor of Jesus Christ.